In the heart of British Columbia's wilderness, Erin Caldwell, a passionate researcher obsessed with Canada's cold cases, vanished without a trace while investigating the mysterious death of Mark Devereaux, a truck driver found lifeless on a remote stretch of Highway 16. Her trail led back to the unsolved disappearance of Lisa Montrose, a young woman who vanished in the same region years earlier. As Detective Laura Chen unraveled Erin's final discoveries, she stumbled upon disturbing connections linking all three: symbols, secret structures, and a haunting pattern that whispered one terrifying truth. Someone was still out there, watching. The northern wilderness of British Columbia stretches for miles, a land of endless pine trees and winding roads where fog lingers like a living thing. It was along one of these lonely highways, in the summer of 2007, that 22-year-old Lisa Montrose disappeared. She had been visiting a friend's cabin near the Skeena River for the weekend, a small getaway to clear her mind after a difficult breakup. That Sunday evening, as the sun began to sink behind the forest, Lisa packed her car and sent her last message to her friend, saying she'd be home before dark. She never arrived. When her car was found the next morning by a passing truck driver, it was parked neatly on the shoulder of Highway 16, the road now infamously nicknamed the Highway of Tears. The doors were unlocked, the engine cold, and her keys still in the ignition. Her phone lay on the passenger seat with one unsent text message displayed on the screen. "He's here." That message would haunt investigators for years. There were no signs of a struggle, no footprints leading away, no tire marks except her own. It was as though she had vanished into thin air. Police were quick to launch a search, deploying helicopters, dogs, and volunteer teams. For days they combed through dense forests, waded into rivers, and canvassed nearby towns. But Lisa was gone. News outlets picked up the story, painting her as another name in a growing list of missing women along that stretch of highway. Locals began to whisper that something dark moved through the region. A predator who watched from the trees, waiting for someone alone. Truckers spoke of strange lights seen in the forest late at night, and hunters mentioned hearing distant cries that stopped abruptly, as if swallowed by the earth. Lisa's family never gave up hope. Her mother appeared on television, pleading for answers, while her father spent months searching on foot, leaving markers in the woods in case Lisa ever found her way out. Investigators chased leads that went nowhere. A reported sighting at a gas station 2 towns away, a tip about a suspicious camper, even a theory that Lisa had run off to start a new life. But nothing made sense. She had a job she loved, plans for the future, and no history of mental illness. The case slowly grew cold. Nearly a decade later, in 2016, a hunter wandering through the forest stumbled upon a rusted silver bracelet half buried in the dirt. The initials LM were engraved inside. DNA confirmed it belonged to Lisa. The discovery reignited public interest, yet it only deepened the mystery. How could one small piece of jewelry survive while everything else disappeared? Forensic teams returned to the area but found no human remains, no clothing, no personal items. The unanswered question remained: who was he? Some believed it referred to her ex-boyfriend, who had a shaky alibi. Others thought it might have been a stranger who followed her car that night. But investigators never found proof of either. Over time, Lisa's case became part of Canada's most haunting list of unsolved disappearances. A story that would spark fear, obsession, and new questions that still have no answers. In the quiet lakeside town of Huntsville, Ontario, peace was the rhythm of life. People left their doors unlocked, and neighbors waved to one another from porches lined with flower pots. That peace shattered one chilly morning in October 2013, when 39-year-old architect Mark Devereaux failed to show up for work. His colleagues thought he was sick. His wife assumed he had gone for an early jog. By evening, when no one had heard from him, concern turned to panic. Police arrived to find Mark's car parked neatly in the driveway, his wallet and phone on the kitchen table, and a mug of half-finished coffee sitting beside a stack of architectural blueprints. It was as if he had simply stepped out and vanished into the air. What troubled investigators most was Mark's last internet search. How deep is Lake Manitou? The lake sat only 2 miles from his home. a place he often visited to clear his head. Divers were brought in within days, scouring the cold, dark water for any sign of him. They found nothing. No clothing, no signs of a fall, no trace of a body. As days turned into weeks, the town began to speculate. Some whispered that Mark had drowned himself. Others said he was abducted. A few believed he had run away to escape a secret life. The investigation turned strange when a fisherman discovered something caught in his net near the center of the lake. A waterproof bag, sealed tightly with rope and plastic. Inside were several papers that looked like architectural designs. They were Mark's, confirmed by his firm. But these blueprints weren't for any known project. They depicted a sprawling underground structure with narrow corridors, hidden chambers, and strange geometric symbols along the walls. None of his co-workers could explain it. The drawings were precise, deliberate, and marked with notes in Mark's handwriting. When police examined his computer, they found the same sketches saved in encrypted files, alongside photos of secluded forest areas and construction materials. There were no corresponding building permits, no client names, no email trails. It was as if he had been working on something in secret, something he didn't want anyone to find. Adding to the confusion was a piece of surveillance footage from a private dock near Lake Manitou. At 3:07 a.m., a lone figure appeared, wearing a heavy coat and jeans. The person's height and gait matched Mark's. The figure walked slowly across the dock, stopped at the end, and stared toward the lake. Then, in a motion so quick it almost looked deliberate, the figure stepped forward into the mist and disappeared. Police paused the footage again and again, studying the grainy frame. In the brief second before the figure turned away, the light caught his face, enough for investigators to confirm it was Mark Devereaux. But that moment only deepened the mystery. Why would he go to the lake in the middle of the night, leaving everything behind? Months later, the lake froze over for winter, sealing away whatever secrets lay beneath. Mark's family moved away quietly, unable to bear the constant whispers. And just like Lisa Montrose 6 years earlier, Mark became another ghost in Canada's growing archive of cold cases. A man swallowed by silence, leaving behind more questions than answers. Erin Caldwell's investigation had taken her across half of Canada, but it was a faded newspaper clipping that finally led her to a breakthrough. The clipping mentioned a construction site just outside Terrace, British Columbia, an abandoned development that was shut down years before after a series of unexplained incidents. The property sat near where Lisa Montrose's bracelet had been found. Erin felt an instant chill when she realized the coordinates matched one of the geometric patterns from Mark Devereaux's blueprints. The resemblance was too exact to be coincidence. She booked a flight to Terrace and drove the long, lonely road that cut through the forest, retracing Lisa's final path. The site was overgrown and silent, hidden beneath layers of moss and roots. All that remained were fragments of concrete, a few rusted tools, and the faint outline of what once seemed to be a foundation. Yet there was something strange about it. The design wasn't random. The way the walls had been laid, the depth of the trenches, even the spacing of the posts all matched Mark's mysterious underground drawings. Erin realized with growing horror that Mark might have been building something similar before he vanished. As she examined the cracked cement, she noticed symbols carved faintly into the structure's edge, identical to those that appeared in both Lisa's journal and Mark's sketches. Triangles intersecting circles, spirals running along the edges, and at the center a single word etched into the stone, observer. The same word Lisa had written before she disappeared. Erin snapped photos of everything, her hands shaking as she worked. Later that evening, she contacted the Terrace police, explaining that she believed the site could be linked to 2 major missing persons cases. Though skeptical, an officer agreed to meet her at the location the following morning. That night, Erin stayed at a small roadside inn. She spent hours reviewing her notes, comparing phone logs, coordinates, and photos. Around midnight, her laptop screen flickered and went black. Then, for a brief second, a line of text appeared before everything shut down. "You're close." The next morning, when the police arrived at the site, they found Erin's car parked near the tree line, but no sign of her. Her phone was inside, the camera still open on the photo app. The last image taken was of the structure, and in the background, barely visible through the trees, was the outline of a figure watching from a distance. Investigators launched a search that lasted days, but the forest yielded nothing. Only the concrete slab remained, covered by police tape and guarded from public access. Forensic teams later confirmed traces of DNA within the cracks of the structure, belonging to both Lisa Montrose and Mark Devereaux. This discovery tied the two cases together for the first time, but without Erin's testimony or further evidence, the truth remained elusive. News of Erin's disappearance spread rapidly. Her final blog post, scheduled before she vanished, went live 2 days later. It read, "The structure exists. They all connect here." Authorities sealed off the site permanently, citing safety concerns. To this day, no one knows who built it, why it was there, or what it was meant to hold. The photographs Erin took remain in evidence storage, each one marked with her initials, and a question that no one has been able to answer. Who was the observer? Months after Erin Caldwell's disappearance, the investigation into the two unsolved mysteries reached a dead end. Files were quietly archived, and public attention drifted away. But beneath the surface, whispers persisted. Amateur sleuths online began piecing together Erin's research, sharing photos she had sent to colleagues, trying to connect the dots she left behind. What they found only deepened the mystery. In one of Erin's cloud backups, recovered through a data request, there were audio recordings. Faint, distorted, but undeniably real. The last recording captured her voice trembling as she described hearing footsteps behind her at the terrace site, moments before the sound of static cut her off completely. The footage retrieved from her camera was even more unsettling. Frame-by-frame analysis revealed a shadowed outline standing among the trees, half hidden but undeniably human. Some believed it was Erin's imagination captured in a digital glitch. Others claimed it proved she was not alone that night. Online forums flooded with theories that Lisa Montrose's disappearance, Mark Devereaux's death, and Erin's vanishing were all part of a ritualistic pattern, a series of orchestrated events replaying over decades. Some users pointed out that similar geometric structures had been found near other missing person sites across Canada, from Manitoba to Nova Scotia. Police tried to dismiss the speculation, labeling it internet hysteria. Yet internally, investigators were uneasy. A new team quietly reopened the case under a confidential review. When they re-examined the recovered evidence, a detail stood out. A small piece of concrete dust from the terrace site contained synthetic fibers, the kind used in high-tech construction, not in projects from decades ago. The structure had been built recently, not abandoned long ago as previously assumed. This revelation shifted everything. Someone had been maintaining or rebuilding it, possibly even using it. Detective Laura Chen, who inherited the case after Erin's disappearance, visited the sealed location one foggy morning. As she walked the perimeter, she noticed fresh tire tracks leading off into the woods, ending abruptly near a stream. Buried beneath the mud was an old cell phone wrapped in a clear plastic bag. When examined, it was found to be Erin's backup device. Inside were a handful of files, all titled the same, Phase 2. Each contained only encrypted data and one chilling image, a photo of a newly constructed concrete circle, larger than before, with the same symbols engraved into its surface. Weeks later, Laura filed her report and resigned. She cited mental health reasons, but those who knew her said she was terrified of something she couldn't explain. The case was once again left unsolved, quietly pushed into cold storage. Years passed, and the story faded into Canadian folklore, a cautionary tale of obsession and disappearance. Yet in 2025, a drone enthusiast filming near Terrace captured aerial footage of a clearing in the forest. At its center stood a massive geometric structure identical to Erin's photos, perfectly preserved under the sunlight. Around it were several dark shapes, possibly stones, possibly something else. The video was uploaded to social media and deleted within hours. But for those who saw it, the image lingered. The bright Canadian forest, the silent circle, and a faint human silhouette standing motionless at the edge of the frame. The caption beneath simply read, "The Observer returns." As the final pieces of these two haunting Canadian mysteries fall into place, one thing becomes clear. The truth is never as simple as it seems. Erin Caldwell's search for justice uncovered more questions than answers, leaving behind a trail of secrets that stretch far beyond the Highway of Tears. The disappearance of Lisa Montrose and the death of Mark Devereaux remain shadows in Canada's history. Chilling reminders that some mysteries are meant to stay buried, hidden beneath silence and time. If this story left you questioning everything, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more gripping true crime documentaries. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next unsolved mystery. And tell us in the comments, what do you think really happened to Lisa and Mark?